All right, red light's on. What is happening, Feashin' friends? Welcome to another Saturday Night Live. Hopefully, we get some numbers flowing in. Okay, looks like we're working. Hopefully, sound and everything's working. What is happening tonight? We got a special guest, a guest that has not been on for quite some time. I haven't talked to Hella for a minute. I've been meaning to get him on. He usually always pops in the stream to say hi. I appreciate that. So we got Rich, the one and only Hellabass. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you? Did you guys get any snow today down in your way?
No, it was like I think 30 today or 25, something like that. It wasn't horrible. You guys get some?
A little bit. It wasn't as much as predicted. Like earlier in the year or earlier in the day, they were thinking it was going to be like a foot, and that didn't materialize, thankfully.
We had an ice storm. Was that Wednesday? I think it was. We're
Hmm.
supposed to. Oh, actually, the thing just popped up here. It says we're supposed to get a mix of ice and snow, 2 inches. So potentially that tonight. Maybe we're just a little behind, but yeah, ice storm that sucked. So that's about it for the weather. How about the fishing? Have you got any fun, cool fishing updates your way? Not actually fishing, but like lures or gear before we start off.
I mean, I've bought a little bit. I got some stuff like sitting around that I've kind of bought. Like I've been kind of just picking up a few things here and there as they come in. I actually have one box here that I haven't opened.
Mm.
We could pop that.
I'm just wondering if you have like a lure, because tonight, listen, fishing friends, I got a giveaway. Since we're talking spring lures, that's what we're getting into here.
Sure.
Early spring lures, what we're doing. I got a bag of spring stuff lined up here. I
Hmm.
was going through the boxes next to me, so we'll do a giveaway here about an hour in. But I was
Yeah.
wondering if you had anything in particular. I'll go first because I'm old and I'm not hip on the new techniques. But I did want to give this whole thing a try. All the cool kids are doing it. All the tour pros are doing it. So I got a couple of these to try. I don't have the forward facing sonar, so I'm going to be kind of strolling in the dark, but
Sure.
I
The
want to
drift
try
fry.
some of this a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Made a
I grabbed they. I
Japan
don't know, Omni
order.
had drift fry off for like 30% off
Yeah.
a little while ago, so I did grab one 4-inch pack and one 5-inch pack.
Yeah, they're pricey, man. I got some ordered them straight from the Japan website and they were a lot cheaper than here, but
Hmm.
still I think like $8 a pack or something like that. That's still crazy.
Yeah, I think at Omnia with 30% off, they were like $9.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing. Debo's gonna try to get in the cool club and shake his little sissy stick around.
I have bought a lot of minnows and a lot of heads, so I've got like the Sakamatas and the drift fry and the mooch minnows, and I've got the Kitech heads and the new tree shaker heads and horizon heads, and so I
Damn.
mean I because like I went
All
to St.
in.
Clair last year for the Bassmaster Open, so I have like a whole bag of
Oh
like
wow. You got the
heads.
fancy version.
Like, have I caught a zillion fish on them? No, I've caught a few. Like,
Yeah, I echo digs here. Hello to basically everybody. Special shout out to all my members, you crazy fools that pay on a monthly basis to support me. I still don't know what y'all are thinking, but damn, I appreciate it. My channel would be nothing if it wasn't for everybody that supported. So I always do want to give a tip of the hat to that. And if you're not a member, doesn't matter. Just watching and watching a couple ads while you go through that pays me. That's all I ask. That's free for you. So
yeah, hit the like button every now and then. Drop
yeah.
in a comment when you can. Interact. Make it a fun place to be.
Yeah, no, chat's already rolling. That's what I love is like there's a whole people are friends in here. Hey, look forward to seeing you every week. It's crazy. So chat amongst yourselves. Be nice. We don't ever have any problems, but
Yeah, and then Trevor Wagner in the comments.
yep,
He's started a channel.
he did. Sent me his vidya. Give old Trevor a follow. Good cat. We had him
I
on
always
a
tell
while
people
back.
go watch their video. That's the best thing you can do. Like
Yeah,
going and subscribing if you don't really watch their videos doesn't do them any good. So like just go
that's
watch
true.
something.
Very true. Subscribing does help get notifications and stuff though. So just watch them when you actually get them. Let's see. There's a question here. Where was it? Oh, here. I think you meant to say Rich. Enjoying your rod videos when you're loading the Dobbins. When you loading the Dobbins spinning and Dobbins braid. Not sure what that means. I also did like your rod
Oh,
series.
so the spinning rod is already up. That was the first one I did. And then based on what people have said, so I did a
Oh,
spinning. So I
the
broke
two
my,
different.
because I have a real issue, I had to break my like rod and reel review into 4 categories instead of just like sitting down doing it once, because it would be like
Not mad at it.
yeah. So I did the spinning rod first, and then I did the moving baits, casting rods. So things that I throw like chatterbaits, spinner baits, crankbaits, swim baits, things like that. And then based on what the comments said, I'm going to do the bottom contact next, and then the braid will be the 4th video. I think they'll all get out in February. Yeah.
I do want to say give Rich a follow and watch his videos, because Rich said don't follow him. He said just watch the videos. He doesn't care if people follow him. I'm joking. But do go watch his last live with Matty Wong. Very interesting. I am not a swim bait guy. That dude clearly is. Had some stuff in there that I never thought about, some stuff that I thought was good. So that was a fun watch. Good job having him on. And I liked in your casting video setups that you have a Mike Long special.
Yeah. It's actually right here. I actually have it like sitting here from the
Look at this.
Like
He was showing
this is
this on
the
his thing.
Dobbins 795, and at the time was the Mike Long signature series. There's right there the Mike
Hold on.
Long signature. So that was probably not going to focus, but that was pre, the whole. That was like I bought this rod like at least 10 years before that whole fiasco came out.
So that rod must be pretty stout, huh? Set for like 1-2 ounce weight.
Yeah, 1 to 2 ounce treble hooks, ideally.
Treble hooks. Oh, that cracked me up. Okay, what else we got? Well, let's see. We're talking about spring lures. I was down here just kind of nerding around. I did some if you follow my Instagram, you'll see I did some lure finishing. I got my first wooden swim bait done.
I actually watched that video this morning.
Which one?
The one that you were showing off your handmade wood swim bait.
Oh yeah, I got it all finished. So I posted a picture on Instagram, got it all done. I can grab it real quick.
I didn't put that 2 and together. I actually saw the Instagram post. I did not put 2 and 2 together that was the same bait.
Oh yeah. Same one. I'll grab it here when it's your turn. My first one that I want to get on more, Lipless. So this is my first lure. I'm just going to go through. I think I've got 5 combos here. We don't have to have a number, but Lipless. The reason why last year, and really this is my biggest thing more than baits, I do want to work deep cranking. So when we get to that, I want to pick your brain because I know you do more of that than me. But for the Lipless, so last year, it was still early. It was my first kayak trip. I was using my down and side scan because I never really learned how to use it, and I made an effort to use it last year, and I found and was ripping a Lipless over them, and I think I caught like that close. I think it was like right at 3. So amazing day for the first trip out. But really focusing on submerged structure. Lipless is such a good way to cover water in the spring. You can slow it down. You can yo-yo it, which has been a great way for me to work it. I'm not a big hop them off the bottom, like with the LV 500s and stuff. Rich might have more help for you guys on that, but that's my first one.
Yeah, the Lipless is great. I've definitely. So the one thing is like, I'm a little bit in a tough spot when it comes to early spring because technically almost all the lakes around me are supposed to be closed season until like Mother's Day weekend.
Oh
So
yeah, I forgot about that.
That really like does. So I have to go, technically need to go down to Bogie or the Mississippi River or, out to Big Stone or something like that to really like go hardcore. So I have been down to the river quite a bit, in April and things like that. But a Lipless is good. Like on the river, it's a great search bait on the river. You can that time in spring, typically working it a little slower, right? Like a lot of times in the summer, you can get away with like just cooking the Lipless, and a lot of times in the early spring, you want to be making a little more bottom contact, let it ricochet and bounce off things like more of the hardcover. There is some emerging grass and things like that. New grass, old grass.
Yeah,
But I've
new
done well
grass is
both on
huge.
smallies and largies. Working the Lipless early in the year, it's much easier to cover water and try to generate a bite with a Lipless. And then once you get a bite, then oftentimes, I'll slow down and maybe go to a jerkbait in that area and maybe work it a little slower.
Mud lines
So
here are really big. I can think of multiple years where I've been fishing mud lines. If you guys get that, where the wind's blowing, it blows it all to one side, and you've got a strong mud line. I mean, you'll be able to see it
sure.
dirty water, and it's just fish that, especially earlier in the year. That's been multiple years back. 2 years in a row, actually. Lipless was the first one. And that 1 year was on straight mud line. And I was reeling a lot faster than I would have thought. You think cold water, you have to go super slow, but I mean, I was going at a good pace. So Michael's got a question for you here. What's the difference between the Gen 1 XP champs, I guess, and the new ones other than cosmetics?
I don't know the exact like everything, but I assume there's some upgraded components over the years. I really don't know the detail. I've got plenty of them, but I've never really like looked at them. Sorry, I got distracted by a comment. I really couldn't say, is it like the real seat and different guides? I'm not really sure. Like the overall actions didn't change a ton, but there has been, and it probably, honestly, that's probably a question for Gary. There's probably like certain rods probably change more than others, right? Blanks and things like that. So I don't really know all the details on that. But I definitely think it's like newer guides, upgraded components, things like that.
Patrick, mine usually is going to be 15-pound fluorocarbon is my go-to if I had to pick one.
Yeah, so buzzbait, I'm a braid guy. Like I like throwing like 40, 50-pound braid for buzzbaits. I don't throw fluorocarbon for buzzbaits. And then chatterbaits, it's usually somewhere between 15 and 20-pound fluorocarbon or 15 to 20-pound like big game. Sometimes I will actually roll with a heavy copolymer mono, especially if it's super shallow. Then I like to go mono. It actually rides up a little higher, and I think the hookup's better and some of that stuff. So the other time that I'll go mono is if I'm fishing around a ton of wood. I feel like the mono is a little bit easier to like snap free if you like hang a bush or a stump or a cypress tree.
Starting to glitch a little bit. Have I glitched on your side at all?
You did robo just a little bit, maybe a minute ago. I wasn't sure if it was me or you.
Somebody said I glitched a little bit. Philip, yeah, Philip, I think has tested now 95% of liplesses that have hit the market. He's a lipless slinging fool. Always appreciate your support. How about you? What's your first? I'm gonna go grab my swim bait while you go.
Like around here, like, so one thing, a phenomenon that I see, if you do get out on a lake that has legal bass fishing, and especially if you're somewhere around where it actually ices up, and that includes you, Debo, I assume, but typically right after ice out, the bass hit the bank hard for like a week, at least on the lakes around here. Like they flood the shallow bays and the little pockets and little mud bays and get up near cattails. Like I don't know. It seems almost, if I go out and crappie fish right after ice out, it seems like the bass are like there's a push, because I think when like that ice melts and that snow melts and there's a little bit of run in, like I think all the life just gets going up shallow, like the little bugs and the food chain just ignites, and the bass typically like get up there and they get on that. I think the pike like to join them too for that little buffet. And a swim jig, just like a chatterbait would work, but I tend to, for whatever reason, in that really cold water, like 45 degrees, get on like a bluegill or a white or a black and blue type, swim jig. Just kind of happen to have like an arsenal, a little bluegill swim jig handy. But
cool.
This with like a menace grub and get up and just, working it a little slower than I probably do in the summertime, but just kind of crawling it, slow rolling it in those back bays around docks that they're put in there, old pad stems, any kind of wood that's in the water. Just a natural bluegill colored swim jig seems to really generate a lot of bites and some good quality bites. So that is something that I like to do if I'm able to, right after ice out.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know that usually for me, ice out, I'm going to the ponds. So
Sure.
like I just start with that, and obviously there's not places that are like crazy deep in them, but that's a really good time to go hit those ponds.
Like they
small
seem like
lakes.
they fire off right after, like there's a good bite window right after ice off, like surprisingly good.
I'll have to try that, because usually I kind of wait a while. Like Okay, ice off. Like I'm not in a huge hurry. I might have to try that. Go try to get out as soon as
It
possible.
seems like, at least in the lakes up by me, in central to southern Minnesota, it's like a couple days to a week of like up shallow, and it's almost like then they drop back and actually get into their pre-spawn and like slowly come back up, a month later when it gets warm.
Question here for smallmouth. I usually just go with like a 1/4 ounce, like when I'm fishing shallow form. I'm not a big river guy. That'd definitely be a rich question, but I don't throw anything different. 1/2 ounce or 1/4 ounce.
Typically half ounce. Yeah, in the river. Yeah. I've caught them on like the 1/2 ounce quake, which it maybe even the quake's even maybe a 5/8, but uh the Thunderhawk Sergeant, even in the 3/4, which is basically a 5. I mean, it's the same size as the 1/2 ounce.
Yep.
Yeah, just the normal sized lipless. I don't do anything like I don't really downsize and I don't really upsize. It's usually just that kind of 1/2 ounce, like I don't know, 3-inch lipless crankbait.
Yakety yak. I like the name. Literally just read that on Bass Resource. Go right after ice out. I'll have to try that. Yeah, usually I just wait for a while. How about you?
Yeah,
What's
I
your
literally
first?
have had
Oops.
bays where I've had to break where necks down, and then it was kind of skimmed over, and I kind of pushed through the ice with my trolling motor, kind of
Oh,
cracking and
wow.
crunching in the back of it. I was catching them in the back of that.
That's awesome. Michael, new member. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate the support. What's your numero uno bait? I'll go grab my swim bait while you go. First one,
Yeah,
first
I
spring
guess
bait.
the swim jig was the first one. Chatterbait is always good. I don't know if I have a chatterbait laying around here, but I think we all know what a chatterbait looks like. Black and blues in the spring, green pumpkins, kind of chatterbait, 1/2 ounce typically. For a long time, I was a big jackhammer guy. Still like the jackhammer, still throw the jackhammer, but I've really warmed up to the Evo. So I've found the Evo has replaced my jackhammer for a lot of stuff. Just with so many pike around, the Evo is much easier. It's a little easier to swallow losing a $9 chatterbait, and the Evo gets a ton of bites. I've done well in the river. I've done well in the lakes. Typically, it's going to have either a menace grub or an Arsenal tactical minnow on the back of it. But a chatterbait, swim jig, those are really good early spring baits.
Dakota asked, "Do you have a difference for which one? Depending, is it just the grass and cover?"
Yeah. Usually, so some things like if it's super calm and high sun, I definitely sometimes will throw the swim jig. If I'm in an area where I feel like I should be getting bit on a chatterbait and it doesn't seem like it's happening, I'll definitely swim a swim jig. But like super clear water, super high bright skies with no wind, lean swim jig. If the grass is just too slimy or too thick, or just I'm struggling to really effectively present my chatterbait a swim jig. So those are like the three main. If it's and then Yeah, if I'm around like those muddier bottoms and I really want to like in that spring when I want it like to be just kind of like bouncing off the bottom, the chatterbait blade will just like catch stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah, high skies, low wind, or if the cover is just gunking up, my chatterbait, the swim jig usually comes a little better. Like pads, a swim jig typically just works better.
Sure.
Doesn't catch on stuff.
I'll show the Bassmeister has a question. Bassmeister, I'm going Corrado 70, and honestly, I think the dark horse of that line is the SLX MGL 70.
I
If
mean,
you don't
they're
want to
all
spend
good.
quite as much, yeah, but
Like
any of those are good.
there's no bad choice in that list.
Right. So there it is. And the cool thing with this is I want it to be like a hybrid between like kind of a gill
Mm-hmm,
and like a baby bass slash crappie. So I
mm-hmm.
did kind of a generic paint, but I want it to be like a cross between a rat lure and a swim bait. So it's got a
Yeah.
knock to it. I don't know. We'll see. Things ugly as all get out. Paint helps it a little bit. You can't see the highlights, but the highlights are pretty sweet on it. Shape of it and everything, though, holy crap. I am not a woodworker, and it completely shows. This one turned out pretty sweet, though. This was my wooden topwater. I put a
Yeah.
couple 1/8 ounce weights in it. Sits just perfect, just like this. Whoops, I guess just like that, kind of in the water. Put a
That's
little
just in like
flash
your
on it.
aquarium.
What's that?
That's in the aquarium.
I didn't catch anything in the aquarium. No, I didn't go
No,
after.
you can't really you can't really walk.
Oh no,
It's
I
hard
didn't
to-
try it yet.
yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what the action's going to be like, but I got suspension and sitting in the water perfect. So
So
we'll see if
that
it
wooden
works.
swim bait, do you see that more like a wake bait, or is it more of a glide, or like how do you
Yeah,
think
it's a
the
chop.
action's
It's
going
going
to
to
be?
be hopefully a chopper. It's not super aggressive, but that's kind of what I want is for it to be for like a little jerk bait. I don't know if that's going to be enough to do it, but kind of a little jerk bait deal like Maddie was talking about. I don't know. It might swim. I don't know. It might not work at all. It might just
You know,
spin
the
and
other thing is
stuff.
if that thing doesn't like swim like you want it to, you might be able just to add a lip and make it a wake or a crank down type.
Probably. Yeah, it'd be a perfect like little do I have that? No. Like a little wake bait, but we'll see. Might just get thrown on the wall. Okay, so your first was chatter and
Swim jig and then chatter.
chatter swim jig. So I'm gonna go. I already showed it. I already spoiled it, but I'm gonna try to be one of the cool kids, and I'm gonna try the hover strolling, mid strolling, all this. I was talking with Hella. Was that before? I don't even remember if we were live or not, but
I don't think so.
I picked up some of these. I made an order from Japan. Picked up some of these things with the little lip on them. Some of the I forget which ones these are. Hank, old Bass Geek, I had him on, and he recommended these. He said this is kind of a dummy-proof one if you want to try walking whatever head that
It
is.
looks
That
like
has,
the owner range roller.
yeah, sure. I don't know. But anyway, he said those were really good. The weight kind of goes up the thing. And he said if you want to start. So there we go. I'm going to try that. I don't really, I don't have the
I mean,
forward-facing sonar. Whoops.
yeah, and
forgot.
so two things. Early
Yes.
spring, I definitely want to try it more. I didn't really do it early spring, but I've try to listen to a lot, like when guys like Drew Gill and some of these other forward-facing gurus talk. And it sounds like when the water's below 60, so pre-spawn, it seems like the minnow is a much more powerful tool, and that like when they get past spawn and through the summer, then they a lot of those guys shift to like Nikos and things like that. So there's something about that minnow that is even more powerful. I mean, obviously it catches fish all year round, and largemouth specifically, they made it sound like the minnow was a much more powerful tool. So I would like to try that as well a bit more in the pre-spawn. And the other thing I was going to say, I have had some people comment that they have had success, whether it's the freeloader or some other baits like that, almost in place of a wacky rig up shallow, shaking and strolling that minnow, throwing up next to a laydown and mid strolling that minnow down the side of a laydown and things like that. So
See,
it doesn't have to be a deep moping technique. It sounds like it has a lot more applications.
And that's exactly from the people that I've listened to that have even said like, yeah, I use the forward, but like a lot of times you don't even need it. If you see, you're going over, you see fish suspended off a point at like 6 foot down or whatever, you don't really need it. You can just do it like you would a crankbait, getting it down to that 6 feet ish, and just kind of walking it through there like you would a liplet or like an underspin, something else, keeping in that range. That's what I'm going to try. Just putting, it in the arsenal as something downsized, something a little bit more finesse, and see. It might suck. Maybe I'll just give it away.
Phil is kind of asking. So that bait that Debo held up is a depths or a depths. Yeah, depths.
The Jackal drift fry is the one.
Or Jackal drift fry. And yeah, it has almost like a soft scrounger type lip built into it. And it's not really designed to be a scrounger, but it is helped design the bait like quiver and roll on a jig head.
The whole thing, like with the strolling and all that, is when you shake your rod tip on slack line, it's basically like walking the dog. That slack line gives it the opportunity to roll side to side. And this lip, it's a soft plastic lip. So this isn't like hard or anything.
So even softer than a scrounger for sure.
It's the same material as the body of this. It's just this thing. So it's supposed to help it catch that water and roll side to side as you're shaking it. So this has a look at that. Looking like a minnow. Looks cool. We'll see. Interesting technique. I like to try stuff before I talk crap.
And there's a couple other ones that have the lip on them, but there's a lot of minnows that don't have the lip, and I don't know. It seems like people catch a lot of fish on both styles.
That's what I heard too. Is like you don't necessarily need it if you just pop it on slackline. Pretty much anything will do it, but I'd already bought them. I figured they were straight from overnight from Japan, so I got them. Any experience with the Mooch minnow? I did get some of those. I think Rich said he's thrown them.
I did get a pack early to try on Leech Lake in the open last year, and I did catch a couple smallmouth on. I think I caught him on a jig head. So this can be a really good drop shot bait. It can be a good, mid strolling jig head minnow. I think it'll be phenomenal on like a micro. What's the mini max chatterbait? I think this will pair up amazing with a mini max chatterbait. Your smaller compact spinner baits. I think this, because the one thing is the freeloader is traditional plastic, whereas this is actually that TPE, kind of like the Z-Man type material. So these will be very durable. So you'll get a lot of life out of these mooch minnows, and they're definitely going to be high float. So much how versatile the Z2 is from Strike King and Z-Man, these will be very durable and very have a lot of applications. So if you put this on the back of a Z-Man Mini Max, being that it's this TPE plastic, you're going to get a ton of life out of it.
Well, I was going to show you, but I've got one rigged up on an underspin. I think it's going to be a deadly little finesse underspin deal, like on a little 3/16 ounce underspin.
And I guess it has a really subtle little tail on it, but it actually does have a nice little subtle kick. So, some of the other straight and if you don't want that, you can play around with cutting part of that or taking it off or trimming those and then give yourself a little bit different action.
Yeah, I don't know if it was all marketing or not, but Jacob Wheeler was talking about, I forget where he was fishing, but he's like, yeah, I wasn't getting the bites I thought I should be getting. I took my scissors and cut the bottom of that off, and it gave a little bit more action. I generated like 5 or 6 more bites, and I'm like, was that really the big deal? I don't know. I'll have to try it. I've never tried it, but maybe try cutting those, see if it gives it more action.
But now they were really hard to get last year. And now they're pretty readily available. So, last year I never wanted to try because I only had like one pack, right? And I was like, well, I really wanted to save those for like strolling in the opens for smallies, and I didn't want to burn them up on like a chatterbait or something like that. So, but now I feel like I've got enough that just let it rip.
David, yeah, hit the thumbs up. It's free. Support us. Support if you like the streams. Follow us. Do the things if you like it. If you don't, go watch somebody else. That's cool too. We still love you. Let's see. There was one question I missed. I forget to ping these. Also, if anybody's going anywhere, I did leave my link below. If you use my Tackle Warehouse link, a little bit of that does come back to help the channel. So I appreciate you. I did put on Instagram, if anybody's looking to get into them, I didn't realize, but Daiwa is releasing the new Tatula rods, the bass rods. And apparently and I can even show you. Actually, I've got it up because I wanted to show that. I didn't realize it was taking over these, which really sucks because these are some of my favorite rods ever. I've got like I think it was an old version of these before this one, but probably one of my all-time ever favorite rods. Whoops. And they are now 25% off because the new version is replacing these. So that makes me sad. But 25% off, and you get the coupon thing for the free AFCO Daiwa sun shirt, which is like $60.
Which is like a $30, $40 shirt for sure.
Yeah, I think it said like, just make sure you keep your tags and stuff.
Yeah, you usually got to cut the UPC out of the box and then send it in with your receipt to get the hoodies.
Yeah. Yeah, a $59 value. So yeah, keep your receipt thing, keep your UPC, whatever. Then you just have to mail it. I think it's like $5 to pay for shipping, which is kind of lame to me. They should just send it to you, but whatever. Keep your tags and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. They said it was a daily. The rods was a daily special, so I don't know when those end. But if you're looking to do it, I would do it ASAP. I don't know if they're going to let that go over the weekend or not, but yeah, that made me sad. I think I've got like 4 of those rods. Really, really liked them.
Yeah, Austin, the 11-inch trick shad is a big piece of bait.
Let's see. Oh, and then also if you're going to Omnia, give Rich some support. Use his code down there. That also helps you save 15%. So
yeah, so that will save you 15% on anything that's not on sale and anything that's not map protected. So It's not going to work on Shimano and some of that stuff. So that code is the February code. The code does rotate. So if you use that code or need a code in March, you can just usually stroll around and find a video. And I usually get them updated within the first day, 2 of the month, and then just throw it on the description. There should be a new Omnia code if you ever need an Omnia code.
Yeah, I agree, John. That made me sad. And I think the new ones are not cork. I think they're EVA. They're all black. They look sick, but that upsets me. So I don't know. I don't know if they're completely replacing those or not. I heard they were, but I don't know. We'll see, I guess. Thoughts on copolymer? I do like copolymer for some things. I like it for cranking. I've got some floating that I like.
I've definitely in the last handful of years really used more big game and Suffix copolymer monos. A couple years ago, I think it was like 2019 or 20 when I went down, 21, whatever, when I went down to the Watchtower River. And there's so much cypress, so much wood, so much shallow. I figured if I was going to be cranking my nice balsa crankbaits and stuff like that, I wanted to be able to ride over this. I thought the copolymer in my head, because it floats and a little more stretch, would help ride over all the cypress knees and all that kind of stuff and be more abrasion resistance and overall. I had a really good experience with it through my spinnerbaits, my chatterbaits, my square bills all over the bayou with big game. And I'm kind of a guy that doesn't change his line till it gets low. So I rolled out in the Mississippi River and still had big game on all those rods. And I was fishing jerkbaits and lipless crankbaits and all that stuff. And it worked great. And I was catching fish. And I've kind of just, for most of my moving baits, I've stuck with it. So chatterbait's probably 50-50. Crankbait's probably 80% co-poly now. Jerkbait's probably 50-50 with fluoro. Yeah, it's, I don't know, it gets it done. But bigger swim baits, I like to throw like 20-pound big game. So it's affordable. You can change it more often. It's tough as nails. It's, I don't know. You don't need fluoro for everything. That's for sure.
So this baby, oh, you can't see it here, but this one on my lipless rod, this is, it's a little bit stiffer on the cash-in lipless. It's not like super stiff, but it's a little bit heavier than some of the ones I use. Trilene Mono XL in the red box, still to this day, always use it every year. I definitely have my 2 topwater rods, like for popper or walking bait. 100%. I like mono over braid and any of that. If you use braid, I would definitely recommend like a mono leader for walking baits and stuff when it's kicking back, so you don't get the front treble head stuff.
I'm kind of a 40-pound braid guy, and then just a short, like 8-10 inch, 17 to 20-pound type mono leader.
Yeah, wet dog smell. I agree. Some of them you don't see a huge difference. Some of them kind of tough. Some of them, yeah, not as much. Just kind of depends.
Saw Levi Watson. He said, "Hey, first time on the live stream." So
hey,
welcome, Levi.
Welcome, Levi. Somebody just said, "Welcome, Levi." Oh, that was William, Mr. William Traxel, another good supporter.
The one thing I like the big game green, is then I can easily see what has mono on it in my rod box. Like if I fish like a big game clear, or like the suffix clear, I don't really, it's like, is that mono? Is like, I have to remember, like, and when you have an addiction like me, you got so many combos, it's easy to forget. And I'm lazy about putting 100%. Tape or labels or any of that kind of stuff on it.
Agreed. That's why I use the Trilene XL in the red box. They have the crystal clear blue. So when you get out in the sun, that's why I said you can't really tell it, but when you get out in the sun, it has like kind of a crystally blue look to it. So, okay. Lure number 3. We're already a half hour in. I can't believe how quick we're going here. The jerkbait. Hella already talked about it earlier. This is one of the smaller stunnas. I like to start with a little bit smaller one. Gonna sling that pretty much ice out through all the way up through really post spawn. It just really depends. Around here, there's always like that post spawnish couple week time, maybe still kind of spawn. It's always tough, I feel like, to exactly nail it down. And it's probably the same for you, as like, I don't feel like spawn lingers like some places where it's like, oh yeah, fish have been spawning all around. I've been targeting all these spawning fish forever. And it's like, I feel it's like a 2-week window here. See a bunch of them up and then so I always get on a really good early spring jerkbait bite where it seems like you can just hammer them. Maybe not size. Obviously, I'm not known for catching huge fish, but I mean, I can think of multiple days in the past where I've gone out. Philip, if he's in here, he knows. He said he still wants to go with me to the jerkbait lake. But yeah, it's a little like 50-acre lake around here by me. off some rocky points. I've had, 50, 60 fish a day there on a jerkbait. So it's just a ton of fun. Ed, you never said anything back. I do have to give Gone Fishing with Ed a shout out, brother. Glad to see you in here. I was painting jig heads. Actually, I tied up some more of my little Ned jigs that I stole from the idea from Epic Eric. But was using your fluid bed, dude, and I appreciate the hell out of you making that and sending it, because it is so much nicer. You don't have to keep stirring and all that. So shout out to Ed. He's been a long time follower as well.
I actually pulled up a jerkbait if you want to put it up on the screen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So my favorite, like Megabass 110s are good, stun. I mean, there's a lot of good jerkbaits, but the one that I've had a lot of success on is the re-range Jackal, which they're starting to be easier to find. Like they're not as out of stock as they used to be. I mean, and probably my favorite one is this Secret Shad 2.
Was that a Northern Lights there? Purple and chartreuse?
They call it Secret Shad 2. But it's a translucent purple top, chartreuse bottom. It seems to work in dirty water, seems to work in clean water. It's got a really good weight transfer system in it, and it snaps. It almost sounds like your rod tip snapping when you throw it. But especially, I think I like it from the boat, because I've been in times where I've outcasted the guy with me in the boat on a 110, and I'm getting to fish that he can't reach. So I would think, whether you're a kayak or a bank angler or a boat angler, getting more distance out of your jerkbait is usually a good thing. So definitely worth a shot. They're moderately priced at $18. They're not cheap. They're not super expensive. My code works on them, so I think with my code you can get it for like $14.50 or something like that, which brings it back down to a reasonable-ish. But yeah, if you've never tried the rear range, it's a fun bait to throw. It throws super easy. It's a little bit louder, like the sound of it. So especially if you're in like dirtier water, or if you're in a super pressured area and the fish are weary, it may be not always the best choice. But if nobody else is throwing it, maybe it will be. Smallies, largemouth, they both like them. I would assume Spots would eat it too.
I stand corrected. Bass for Dave. Thank you for jumping in on that. He is correct. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try. I just picked up some more of those. Do you feel like it has a different action, or is it more kind of like a sound thing you feel maybe is a little different? Or versus like the Vision 110 and all that stuff, or just like what do you think makes it your favorite? Or just you've had really good success?
I don't know. I think the fact that I can cast it further.
Oh,
I like. I like to be sometimes different. Like I don't like necessarily always throwing the same thing that everybody's always throwing.
Sure.
I feel like I can get to depth a little easier. Their MR is a nice bait too. They're kind of their version of the +1. I throw that a lot. Gets down pretty well.
See, Gator says he doesn't like the Stunnas. That's probably one of my favorites of the last.
I haven't thrown one.
They're a slow sink. That's just coming out. You can take just to the tops of it till you feel it die and pop it out. A lot of good luck on, what was that, a couple of years ago with Dad throwing that. But yeah, I like the real slow sink of it. I will jump over. Stop sharing. And go to, whoops. This one. So Bass for Dave, I think, is the one that said it. He said, no, they actually are so cork. By golly, he's right. I thought the picture I saw, they were EVA. So $140 too. I thought that was interesting because I think somebody said they have an upgraded blank and they're going to be cheaper. So, I mean, if that's the case, that's amazing. Maybe this is like an intermediate. Oh, I am sharing, right? Okay, yeah. Maybe this is going to be an intermediate. Maybe they're not getting rid of the, because I think the other ones were like one. Oh, they're not even on here, are they? Yeah, I guess they took them off. Because they're like, what, 170? The Tattooless? Yeah, I guess they're getting rid of them. So maybe a little bit of an upgrade and a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, I guess I'm not super familiar with.
Oh, here it is.
I know a lot of guys like the Daiwa lineups. Do you feel that when they make switches, like on a Tatula series, that it stays true, or is like the 7-foot medium heavy a completely different rod when it comes out the next year?
I've got the old one. The old one is just like a regular medium heavy, And then I haven't used that for I don't know how long. So it's only been just this generation, those the most recent ones. So I couldn't tell you.
Because I remember like 15 years ago buying like the Shimano Chimera and thought, oh, I really like this
and then they
7.2
change.
heavy or whatever. And then like you go out and buy the next gen one and it's not even the same rod. And it's like, I don't, you know, I find that frustrating when they like, I get why people want to refresh it, but if they like change things up and like the balance changes and the feel, like just everything changes, it's like,
it's a whole different rod basically. Tips for buzz baits. I would say fish them around structure just like you would anything else. Get them close and knock into stuff. You'd be surprised how many times you hit something or come over something, you get blasted. So don't fish them safe.
Yeah. I mean, cover water. You don't mix up retrieves. Some days you fish them pretty fast. Other days you need to kind of just gurgle them along. I feel like if there's shad present in your fishery, the buzzbait bite is just in generally better. I mean, that we do catch them up here up north, but for some reason, I don't feel like the bite is as consistent on a buzzbait as like the river and places where shad are present.
Yeah,
I mean, you can play around with skirted buzzbaits. You can play around putting little swim baits or a toad on the back of it. There's a lot of different options, but it is literally like keep it moving on top. It's not super technical, I guess. I mean, there's nuances to it, and there's colors and cadences and things like that, but it's pretty simple to fish in general.
Yeah, I agree. Cast and retrieve and mix up your speed. Yeah. Did I just say cast and retrieve? I meant when you cast and on, you'll retrieve. Cast and retrieve it. It's a good tip. Daniel, yes. So when you use any of the links, you might have to clear your cookies if it's been for a while. Don't do anything special for me, but I'm just telling you how it works. When you go to the website, like if you clear cookies and go to it, it'll say like, do you want to accept a website from here? Like cookies from this website or whatever. And when you click yes, I think it tracks people for 30 days. So yeah, anything you buy on it. So even if you use my link and don't buy it, like that thing. So like, let's say it's for a spinnerbait, use my link and it says, do you want to accept cookies? Yes. And you go buy like a rod or something, it still gives it. So it basically tracks the link for, I think 30 days, whatever you buy. So yep. Anything I get a little bit does come back and help support the channel. So I appreciate it.
Looks like you got a nice little super chat that came in there.
I did just see that. Yep. I'm trying to zip through some of these questions so I don't forget. Dustin likes the Stunnas. Yeah, I do too. They are a little bit of a slow sink. So if you don't like that, might not be your deal.
I'll dance like a little monkey when you get a super chat for you.
Do the little symbols or whatever there. Let's see. Where are we? Ed, thoughts on the Credge? I have somebody yet to toss them. They look like they won't.
I never bought the Credge. I don't know. Like I
got a couple.
Here's the thing. I see a lot of Berkeley pros showing it on Instagram and videos, but I ain't seen anybody throw the Credge on BPT or Bassmaster on TV.
Sure. Yeah, and I feel like it's going to be a real like niche thing because supposedly it's supposed to like kind of fall backwards. So I could see it maybe around docks and some sorts of cover, that might be hard to get around, but I think there might be things that are, better than that. But
I'm sure
I
it has
its
situations for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. I mean, I see myself just reaching for a jerkbait, regular one instead of going to that. Michael with the $20 bomb. I will drink to that. Got myself a late iced coffee here.
Got a little cocktail in the old tumbler.
Found a JDM Steez rod used, $200. Bought a 2024 Tatula SW for it. This is my first bait casting after spinning for the last 5 years. 6'6".
Sweet combo, regular. First of all.
Hell yeah, dude. My first one. So I see you went really conservative on your approach. Yeah, great buy, dude. I've not used any of the. Actually, I did get a Steez rod for super cheap. Is it the Steez? I think it is. But I can tell you the 24 Tatula SV is killer. Absolutely love that reel. So great pick on that, dude. How's it been casting it? Have you felt it's been pretty easy to use or easier to use than you thought from going spinning to a bait caster? I know that tends to scare people.
Yeah. So he's saying 6'6", fast action, medium heavy, what lures.
Oh, I didn't even read that. Yeah.
So
that's going to be good for a ton of
6
stuff,
is an
dude.
interesting length. I feel like that's a very JDM length.
Shorter. Yeah, that's still going to be good for a ton of crap. I would say most all your crankbaits for a 6.6 regular, most of your, shallower to, you're not going to get the huge casting distance, but to like your 6-foot divers, small
But like,
single
yeah,
hook
target
baits.
like if, I don't know if he's fishing from a boat or from shore or a kayak, but like it should be a great target casting rod. If you want to
Yep.
roll cast spinner baits and chatter baits and stuff
Little mini
around logs and
max,
laydowns, like I think it would be a fantastic rod for that.
small squirbles. Yeah. Underspins. That'll do a lot. Even like a wacky rig or something. I don't know what it's rated for. I'm guessing like maybe 3/8, half ounce, something like that. Medium heavy. I read it as medium. Yeah, basically the same stuff. You can go a little bit heavier. Square bells be a good square bell rod. Chatters, spinnerbait. Yeah. Agreed with all those things. So thank you for the $20 bomb, dude. Michael, you did not need to do that at all, my friend. I appreciate the heck out of you, though. Credge is a gimmick. Yeah, it is. I think it is kind of gimmicky. I need to fish it more, though. Like I said, I think there could be some times when it could be useful, but yeah, I see myself just picking up a jerkbait and doing that instead. I haven't, Brandon. I do want to pick up one of those to try it. Matt Strike will burn him up on the credge. Nice. Yeah, that's SB Fishing, I think. He seems like a really nice guy. Rich, are you giving away a Hellavisor tonight?
I do have I got the top of a visor, but I don't have any visors.
That's for when you want to put that on without the hat. Let's see what that looks like. I look like a yarmulke, but yeah, I say it's for when like you're starting to go bald on top. You don't want to get the very top burn up. Let's see. All right, what do we got? Did you do your next lure after jerkbait, or was jerkbait yours too? Jerkbait was yours too at the range.
Yeah, Lipless jerkbait. We talked about swim jig. We talked about chatterbait.
Okay, we'll open this door. I want to get some of your thoughts on this too. So this
Jigs
could
for
be.
pigs.
Now I'm going finesse jig though. So this to me normally would be like my Ned rig. Multiple years, early in the spring, my skirted Ned jig has been absolutely killer. You can make those yourself. Just take a few strands, buy some EWGs like this, thread tie just a few strands to the front, and I umbrella tie it. So just tie that one end. That way, when you flip it over, it's got that kind of umbrella poof. But like throw on a Hellgrammite, a Ned, like a little craw. But I'm saying finesse jig this year. I'm going to throw a finesse jig more than the Ned jig or Ned rig. Yep. Something just like that. It's a beauty.
That's a little hand-tied morsel from Horseshoe
Like
Custom. My buddy AJ down in Nebraska.
that's pretty.
It's called Mendy Magic Color.
It's got that ball head. I still think for fishing the riprap, especially if you're a bank angler, those ball heads are the way to go. This is one of the missile bait ones. I've never used these. 1/4 ounce. Actually, that needs
then
to
on
be
the back of
trimmed up a
my
little bit.
finesse jigs, I like a Menace Grub, a baby Pit Boss, a Speed Craw, typically.
The Pit Boss.
The baby Pit Boss.
The little
3-inch
one.
Pit
Is that 3-inch? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to trim that now, but anyway, finesse jig. So you could also go like, of course, the War Eagle heavy finesse jig. Dizzle got me turned onto those. They just don't make a 5/16, which is what I really, really want. Hopefully soon. Wink, wink, maybe. But otherwise, the Luke Clausen one is really good. That's probably the one that I gained my first like really confidence on one of those little finesse jigs, because I just never threw them. It was either a flipping jig or a swim jig. Like I just never really delved into all the other fancy stuff. But yeah, Dizzle opened my eyes to that after beating my brains in about 500 times throwing a damn finesse jig and beating me. So, but I'll show you that one real quick. Otherwise, there's a company called Texas something, San Antonio Lures or something like that. that makes a little 5/16 ounce ball head too, if you're looking for that.
Yeah, I think
size.
that was a 5/16 that I showed from
I like that.
from AJ. But I also like just a regular 3/8 ounce, half ounce flipping jig early in the spring, like flipping laydowns, flipping bushes.
Yeah,
Kind of depends on the cover. For me, it's more what is the cover. If it's riprap
sure.
and gravel, if I'm dragging in like spawning areas for smallmouth or staging, that's probably more of a ball jig. But if I'm fishing largemouth in wood and stuff like that, I'm probably going to be more of like a bass tech flipping jig kind of
Yep.
guy.
Yep. And I should have said, yeah, definitely for riprap, that ball head. I mean, that's usually where I'm throwing. I need to throw a jig more in other spots because I'm the cop out Texas rig guy. If I'm around wood, I'm just like, no, I'm throwing Texas rig. I need to force myself to do more jig throwing here. Let's see, where is it?
Well, and it kind of, I mean, like, I feel like if I'm fishing from the bank in wood, I'm probably also going to go Texas rig more often because I feel like it does come through. You're going to get hung less on a Texas rig for sure. In a boat or a kayak or a float tube or whatever, you can always usually finagle over and unhook the jig if you need to. A lot of times from the bank, a jig can get you into some. I mean, I've caught tons of fish from the bank too, but it's a little less forgiving to throw the jig from the bank at times.
Oh, I thought it said it was on sale for a penny. Sometimes Tackle Warehouse, I don't know if people are drunk over there or what, but it'll be like, oh, on sale. And you go to it, it's like sale for 2 cents. Like, what the hell? Is that like a marketing thing? Come on, you dorks. But these are on sale, 16% off, so like $1, not a bunch, but no, not the go-to. What is the color I like? It's like a black, not palm bug, not that one. Canterbury. Oh, I like that one. And then there's like a black. I thought they had a black and oh, here, Okeechobee 420 is another good one. But yeah, that's a really good little finesse jig. Comes in 5/16, so something like that around rocks. But yeah, I was hoping this, and I can share this one because I've never thrown these. Have you thrown this from Missile Baits? That jig? Rich?
What's that? Sorry.
Have you thrown the Missile Baits, that little jig at all?
I have not.
It's the Iconelli jig, and I thought they were like a bigger jig.
Mini flip.
Yeah, the mini flip. So I thought they were like a heavier. I didn't realize they came in the finesse. So I picked up some of the quarter. They look pretty cool, kind of like a hybrid between a ball head and like a little flipping jig type. It's not too big and bulky. So yeah, picked up some of those. What was the color? Not that one. Not candy grass.
You can definitely throw jigs on F. You can throw anything on FFS, Mike Christian. It enhances just about everything.
Let's see. What other questions we got here? Fish tell you what they like. Yep. Mini Max would be great in that. I'm not sure what that was about. Pig jigs in the house. Hey, pig jigs. When are you releasing those? The Debo Tequila Sunrise.
Debo Rise.
Do a special color. Yep. The old Debo Rise. Here's a good one. What's your length, power, and action for jerkbaits?
Yeah. So I use both the Dobbins 704 CB and Dobbins 705 CB. So it's a 7-foot, and then it's a 4 or 5 power in the Dobbins, but it's their crankbait series. So it's like a medium, moderate action or something like that, or I don't know, the crankbait. They have different. But yeah, both of those rods. So the Fury 705 is a good jerkbait rod, pretty affordable. I know some people like shorter rods. I have no issue with a 7-footer for myself, but I'm also almost 6'2", so.
Yeah, I like a shorter rod just from either from the bank is probably why, because trying to work a jerkbait from the bank, you're always clacking tip, on something. So I like a 6'8", 6'10", a little bit shorter. Medium, sometimes a medium light, those can be kind of deceiving because you hear medium light and you think, oh, it's not going to be strong enough. But something with enough backbone to work it, where it's not flimsy enough where after you work the jerkbait, the tip's going like this, because then your bait down underwater is doing that, right? So stiff enough where you can work it, but enough of a bend when you actually pull into them to keep those treble hooks pinned. So yeah, a medium, like moderate fastish, I would say, is probably my go-to.
I'm speaking from fishing from a bass boat deck, so
yeah,
that obviously elevates me a little bit.
People talking different. See, this is what I like. People giving their thoughts on,
Mhm.
rods, talking back and forth. I'm just going through comments here, which I think is very helpful. Because listen,
I definitely don't ever hear anybody fishing anything longer than a 7-foot for jerk baits.
yeah.
So I'd definitely say that would probably be the max. Dobbins does have a 610 CB in the Caden lineup, which is pretty popular for jerk baits as well.
Ike's Mini Swim. What is that one? Mini Flip is the ones that I got. Mini Swim. Are you talking about the missile bait swim jigs? Those are actually pretty sick. I got a number of those back when they first came out.
The little Schmitty is popular. Yeah, that must be it.
Those things are sick if you want like a little finesse swim jig. Absolutely love them. I don't know what I'm guessing that's the one you're talking about. I don't know. Maybe there is a Mike or an Ike's. I don't know. I guess you're talking about those, but yes, those are on sale now too. Up to 33% off. And I like that they do the bone. That bone color has been the one that I've used most. I like that companies are starting to do that. Yum did with their
Mobster.
Yeah, the mobster. Yep. I really like that kind of dirty bone color. I don't know. It's just a little bit more natural, I think. But of course, they got the June bug too, which is sick because it's purple. So, okay, let's see. I think I have one left. Then we'll do just questions, open forum. We'll get the giveaway rolling here. So, Rich, here's where I want to pick your brain. So, I just happened to tie this one on because, like a nerd, I was out casting this in my backyard just to see how it would load some of the lighter lures, and it feels really good. It's the Cashin deep crankbait, 3/8 to 1 ounce, and I threw one of the little like bomber 6s on here. But this is going to be something I really want to work this year, and I hardly ever crank anything above 8 feet. 8 foot and below, very confident in it, and I think a lot of it, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, is like having electronics to know. I'm not saying forward facing sonar. I'm just saying being able to find some of these humps or dips, whether it's a, roadbed or a ditch or, some sort of structure to crank, brush pile.
Edge of a lead line.
Yeah. Yep. I feel like I've gotten a lot better with that at electronics, and I'm still not amazing at it. Very noobish, but I feel like that's a big part of it. But any other tips deep cranking?
I mean, I do not do a lot of deep cranking. Like,
oh, I figured you did.
Most of my cranking is like DT6, square
okay.
bills, lipless.
Yep. Yeah.
DT10s a little bit.
Santoni.
I have some bigger crankbaits. I don't do it a ton. But yeah, I feel like so many of our lakes have so much grass. It's hard to find that right lineup where you're not burying it in the grass.
Yeah.
It's not my forte. It's not my go-to. I've done it. I've got some fish on it, but it's definitely not a confidence go-to.
Yeah, these are a bestseller for a reason. Whoever said, I forget who said, yeah, the War Eagle Heavy Finesse. Yeah, these are, I've had my days beat so much by these. And the things that I like about these over the other ones is they don't have a light wire hook. It says it's a heavy finesse, and it is a choked up like 2X, maybe even a 3X, depending on the brand of hooks you buy. If you pour your own, it's a short, stout little hook. So you can throw it on a heavy rod, medium heavy rod. You're not bending that thing out. That's the problem with some of the finesse jigs that people throw. They'll say, oh, the hook is so wimpy. So if you want one a little beefed up, but still real small profile, definitely get those. The War Eagles, big fan. Okay, so then I'm going to turn to chat. Any of you guys and gals that do a lot of the deep cranking, what tips do you have? I've loaded up on some different brands, some different types. I've got my different depth diving dealers, what tips do you got for nerd? I rigged up some 12-pound on this. This was I think I showed this last live. I've had the winch, the new winch I've been wanting to try. That's what it's going on, 5-speed. It's interesting because just dropping my lure to the floor and then reeling it up, I think took like 4 or 5 reels. And I was just messing with the rocket.
How long is that rod?
7.4, I think. 7.6.
Yeah. I feel like getting that 7.4 or 7.6 range makes it a lot easier to throw 10-foot plus
7.6
plugs. Like I do not like throwing anything over like 10 foot and above. I definitely jump to my 7'6" cranking rod, like just the leverage and the pull.
Extra distance.
So that definitely should be comfortable. In deep cranking, you typically want to hit bottom on part of your cast, unless it's smallmouth, and that's different. But
so I was just thinking that the reason I was watching, there was a couple guys, Brando and I were out on a boat, and there was a couple guys fishing a hole, and I think they were also fishing a hump that was out in the same area. So I'm not sure which one it was on, but they were deep cranking and just putting on a clinic. And it's something on that lake, two lakes basically around in that spot. I know of guys fishing those humps off of, offshore deeper. And when I say deeper, like 12-foot humps, it's obviously relative depending on where you fish. But for me, that's deep, 12, 15 feet. So some I want to work, just try to do a little bit of that. Like you said, getting just enough behind it where I can hit the backside and kind of crawl up over it, hit down a little bit and try that.
Yeah. Most of the lakes around me where they've got like rock piles or hard spots, I can usually hit them with like a DT10. So.
Yeah. And I tend to err on the side of heavier than I should for line. So like usually 12-pound is my go-to. So I know like
I don't crank with less than 12. So
yeah, 8-foot divers aren't getting down, close to that 8, but
I mean, longer casts definitely help you achieve maximum depth.
That's true. Yeah, that's
but really the biggest thing about offshore deep cranking is getting the cast lined up and know that you're hitting what you're trying to hit. I mean,
that's the hard part for me. I got some buoys, old school buoys, because I'm just not good at, because in the yak, I can't, I don't have forward facing, so I can't look at it all the time. To me, that's been the biggest thing with forward facing sonar. My buddy Brando that I fish with, he has it, and the stuff that you can learn and just being able to stay on target. I think I said this last time. The
efficiency of knowing your cast is where you want it to be.
Yes. Like I would say maybe 20% of the time we're actually seeing fish and catching those that like he sees. He's way better at it than I am, but he's got it now set up on his driver's seat thing where I can flip it on too, so we can both see what he's looking at. And for me, it's just a lining up thing. It's incredible being able to stay on the grass line exactly where it's at, over just seeing the fish. But that's the hard part for me in the yak, is I use my side and I see it, then I lose track of like where it's at. So screw it. I'm using buoys this year. I'm going to throw out some marker buoys and try that.
Your kayak is a pedal?
Yep. Pedal. Yeah. So pig jigs, jiglet on the 13th, the Ned and jig in a few weeks. So if you guys and gals like this style of thing, his is a little bit different. His is a little bit fuller, more like an actual jig. He's going to be the guy that I send you to, and I'm not getting a commission, none of that. It's just, he said, if you want to do a color, and not just my color, anything, because he's a garage maker, and I appreciate the hell out of that.
I do have a cool bait upstairs that I think you would like.
Yeah, go get it.
I should go get it quick.
Or is it on a site where I can just share it?
Have you seen the Battle Baits Brigade Blade?
I have.
Okay.
I've not tried it yet.
I got it upstairs. I mean, I've not fished it, but I don't know. I could show it off quick if you want.
Funny thing is, I have actually got some of the Kitech rum. What is it? Rumble Blade? I forget what they're called, but it's basically that. It doesn't have the willow leaf on it up at the top. So I might try that this year some more. I got a couple last year and threw them, and they have a really hard thump. So Diggs, here's an off-gear question. When looking at a lake in Google Earth, do you ever try to find a late fall image of it? No. So people definitely do that. I am not into like the timeline stuff, but I know a lot of people will do that, like looking a few years back to see, okay, when did it grass up? How grassy was it? Those kind of things. But I don't look at it, but I know a lot of people do, man. Aluminum boat. When you look there. Yeah, the bones of okay, that's the one Dave was talking about. Yeah, that bone one. Yeah, that little bone swim jig is agreed. I love companies are doing that.
Cool. So I guess the first thing I bought this off the Baitman stream. It's a custom painted Chapo from Bag 5 Baits, Mike Russell. So it's kind of cool.
He's an amazing painter, super nice guy.
Yeah.
I've only talked to him a couple times, but very nice cat.
This is the Battle Baits Grade Blade.
Yeah, so I was just saying it's like the Kitech has the rum blade or rumble blade, which basically is the same idea. It doesn't have the willow blade up top though, which I saw some footage of that underwater, and man, that thing does that little willow blade kicks all around.
So it's got a blade on it. So it's not a chatterbait, but it's a bladed jig. And so this blade is oscillating here, and it's pushing water. I haven't thrown this in the water. I've seen some swim videos. And then you've got this kind of trailing blade that kind of wiggles and spins back here, and he just does pretty sweet work. He's a one-man dude out of Missouri somewhere. So all these heads are hand poured. I mean, he's got a spin mold, right, or spin cast. But he's pouring, painting, tying all these jigs. I mean, it's got a nice keeper, a nice hook on it. I'm kind of excited. I mean, that's pretty good looking bluegill color there.
Yeah, he deserves it because I've got one here. Not that one, but his spinnerbaits. Yeah, his spinnerbaits. Dude does amazing work. It was a few years back. I was throwing one of his orange ones. Sure. Yeah, he puts a crap ton of work into this stuff. So he's one of the guys that deserves.
He's right now he's swamped. He kind of launched this bait, did a podcast with Andrew at Tackle Talk, and then a few other people like Baxter and myself have kind of showed some of these baits off on videos and stuff like that, and he is overwhelmed with orders and reach outs and contacting about this and some of his other stuff. So good problem to have, but if you want to get some, awesome. You're gonna have to be patient.
Chasing gorditas. Does Taco Bell still have the gordita? Those things were good.
I'm more of a chalupa guy, but yeah, whatever.
What's your favorite swim jig? My favorite? Gosh, I don't even know. What's the one I've been throwing most?
Yeah, I mean, the one that I've switched to lately is this Arsenal sniper swim jig. It only comes in a few colors.
Flashaboo in it.
1/4, 3/8 ounce. They're tied. It's got a nice. I mean, it's a light wire hook, but it's pretty strong.
Like a regular wire.
I mean, like you can definitely fish it on braid if you want to.
Oh yeah.
It's got a dual barb, so it's got a. If you can see that, a twin like horizontal barb poured, and then a vertical wire keeper. So it's got a double barb, which holds trailers really nice. It's got a couple of good colors, like a bluegill, a white with some flash, a black, blue, purple flash. Yeah, just comes through things. A nice light weed guard.
I like it.
Yeah, I've got some big dogfish on. The hook holds up to that, so it's a good test. But no, I've done really well with this.
I would say I think the Mobster is the only one I threw last year, really. And I'd never honestly fished that one. Dirty Jigs has a bunch. I've got a bunch of those from forever ago.
And you can get these at Tackle Warehouse with DEBO'S link.
Hey, all right. Are they at Omnia?
They're not.
Oh. Okay. We'll use my link and then share the love and go buy something else from Omnia and use Rich's.
I mean, if you want to save money, there is a code in my videos to go directly to Arsenal Fishing, but just throw one in your cart next time you're at Tackle Warehouse. But there's their white with a little bit of flash, just a little bit of
Flashaboo. I really like it, and it gives it a cool touch. Let's go look at them real quick before I'm going to start giveaway here in just a second. 275 people watching. I appreciate the heck out of y'all. Let me jump over real quick.
I have not tried a red swim jig in the spring, but there's no reason it shouldn't work, Travis.
I haven't either.
I've definitely done okay on the. I've dabbled with the fire craw bladed jigs and caught some fish, and lipless crankbaits. Jerkbait's another one that I haven't really People catch them on, red jerk baits too. That's the one I held up.
I haven't thrown a red jerkbait either.
But yeah,
Am I
you would like
sharing?
that one there, Debo. It's got some
Dude, yeah,
purple
that
flash.
color. Oh, black, blue, and purple. Yes, sir. It's got that wedge
Look at
head.
that
Yeah,
one.
that looks good as hell, man. And it comes in a fourth. I like the fourth around here for those shallower spots where I'm fishing.
Yeah, there's the.
Fishing.
You can see it in real life. It looks pretty similar.
I dig it.
I would say their quarter is maybe a little more true. Like their quarter is pretty light. It's actually like quarter ounce total bait. Like just sometimes things are like some people are quarter ounce head and then you got the hook
plus
and the
stuff.
whole thing ends up being 3/8. Like I would say that their quarter ounce is a true quarter ounce, so it fishes light. I fished a lot of quarter ounce swim jigs and other models, and I found myself gravitating to 3/8 ounce more often in this. So this one, they run a little light compared to what other people call quarter and 3/8. That's guess what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Ed, I agree. The more I've fished them the past probably 3 or 4 years, I think I've pretty much gone mostly all to the spunk shad when I fish it most of the time. Clay, why is the Arky head so good? I see jig head shapes come and go, but I've seen the Arky forever since I can remember. I think because you just said it, it's a great hybrid head that can do a little bit of everything really well.
Yeah, it'll come through rocks, it'll come through grass, it's probably best at wood. It's a good skipping head. It's not like the best maybe at anything, but it's pretty good at all of them.
Okay, let's start the giveaway here. So this will be, and I didn't even show anybody. I forgot about that. Let's just show, since we're talking spring here, I put this together since we're talking spring stuff. These I just found, I don't even remember where I got these, but they're kind of cool. They're a ribbed bait that has like a curly tail. I think they're a walleye lure, but I thought they'd be fun on a jig head. So I threw some of these in. They're pink, they're bright pink coming up spawn, but they've got these like the ribs on it, plus a little bit of like a curly paddle tail.
Rib for mutual fishing pleasure.
Yes, pink and white. So pink, people like those brighter colors for coming up to spawn. So I thought those might be good. The mock. I've got square banger. So one of the monster bass squirbles, and I did get a few of these extra sitting around. So that's the DEBO Tequila Sunrise Craw from Monster Bass. Throw one of those in for you.
Those are like a 1.5 square bill.
Yep, 1.5. This was a 2.5. This little bit bigger one. It's like a what do they call that? Parrot or whatever. They call it citrus shad, but it's like the going up into a green blue. I've got some power bait, straight money, Skeet Reese design shaky heads. I was actually throwing these on a Nico rig last year and did well. I think these are old. I don't even know if they still sell them, but some blue and purple. I had like 3 packs of them because they were a gander. Going out of business. Take a drink. I've got a pulsator in here, 3/8 ounce with your little red kicker blade there. Some guys absolutely swear for that for spring. I've had mixed results, but I haven't thrown it enough to give a definitive answer. Speaking of gander going out of business, regular price for these was $5. On sale for $3.87. I think I got them at 90% off, so like under $1. Some quarter ounce swim bait heads.
That's like a $10 pack of swim bait heads.
Yeah, exactly. It's like $10 now. This one, I don't know. I've never thrown this. It's the Juke 100. It's a shallow diver. So for somebody that would get this that does some bank fishing, it's an old Burke one. I should probably keep it because I don't think they sell these anymore. But it's a slow float 3 to 5 foot, 4-inch. Kind of cool. I thought for especially once the grass starts coming up, people really sleep on a floating jerkbait. I can't tell you how many I've caught on the old Rapalas. Right when the grass would be coming up, keeping it just above that, jerk it down to the grass, and then let it slowly rise. Very effective. I threw some of these in. I bought a bunch of these when they were on sale. This color.
The tactical minnow. That's my favorite
baby
chatterbait
bass.
trailer.
Yeah.
That's my go-to chatterbait trailer.
I like the smaller one. What is it? The 3-inch or whatever? Is there a 3-inch?
Yeah,
I like
3 and a 3.5 inch.
3.5, I think was the one.
There's both.
Picasso, 3/8 ounce Picasso. This is the shock blade. These things are pretty sick. but it's your like Okeechobee green pumpkin blue. I had one of those
I think I
sitting
have
over there.
one. I don't know that I've ever thrown it.
How about a shin spin? Have you ever thrown a shin spin 1/4 ounce?
Nope.
It's like like the Okashira screwhead deal, except it's on the nose. Shin Fukai, greenfish tackle. I got snagged every time I threw it, so I figure instead of throwing this one and losing it.
So I'm going to give it to somebody else, and they can get the joy of hanging it up.
1/8 ounce, some little 1/8 ounce 6 cents heads, and then a couple jigs. I really like these 1/4 ounce finesse jig. Had good luck on those last year, but these are
there's more
PB&J. And I tell you what, as much as I love purple, I don't love brown and purple. So those are going to somebody else. So there we go. That's the bag. That's
DEBO'S
the bag.
tackle obsession has now become your reward.
I know. I'm getting rid of stuff. I'm trying to thin things out because it's clearly a problem.
So speaking of getting rid of things, I am about to go live on Whatnot in like 10 or 15 minutes after we're done tonight.
Hell
And
yeah.
blowing a bunch of stuff out for like $1 and $2 starts, crankbaits, and all kinds of stuff. So
that's awesome.
If anybody ever wants to join me on the slippery slope of Whatnot life, just it should go live on the Hellabass channel and then if you want, you can go over to the Whatnot app as well.
Oh, so it's on your channel too. I didn't realize that.
They have a thing and I was testing it earlier today and it was working because it failed me one other time, but it does multi-stream, so it is nice to it's nice because some of the YouTube fans like to just watch and listen to me blab my mouth about baits and then not, but so.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's the bag. Let me get back to questions here. What do we got? The term heavy finesse, I'm not sure what that was about.
I think that's the hook on the jig, right? So those smaller finesse jigs, some of them have really light wire hooks and other ones have beefier hooks so you can fish them. They're more like a compact heavy jig versus some of the finesse jigs are really light wire and you almost have to fish them on light line and lighter action rods.
I agree, Ed. Same. Anything over 8 feet and I'm like, I don't really know what I'm doing. No. Okay, so people are answering my deep crank stuff. So what questions you got? Hit me up with the questions. I'm going to try to get to those. I'm skipping forward because it's hashtag spring here. So
I love watching your analytics when you do a giveaway and you see the chat go.
Yeah. And then as soon as it's over, you lose 50 followers, 50 watchers.
A good point. If you've never been on Whatnot before and you follow the link in like my YouTube, you'll get a $15 credit to spend on Whatnot.
So how do you get that?
There should be a link when YouTube goes live to be able to get that.
That's pretty cool. Did I just see something just came out with a redline hook? They were just saying, yeah, those redline hooks are no joke. They're stupid expensive, but they are really nice.
Although the Dick's Sporting Goods around me have had them buy 5, get 5 for red lines.
Half off. Okay.
Any tips for wake baits? I don't throw a lot of wake baits, just Greg.
Same. Okay.
Number one tip for video editing.
Do it a lot. Do it a lot because you're going to suck at it at first. And I'm still certainly not a pro, but the more comfortable you get, it'll just...
Probably the biggest thing is if you can try to think of the edit when you film, that will save you a lot of time. Like if you film with GoPros, like stopping your camera after you get a catch so that you know when you go through the footage, like you only have to look at the back of your catch to find the fish catchers or if you just let it run continually, it can be daunting to try down and find. So anytime something interesting happens or you catch a fish or you say something funny or Dizzle falls in the lake, you stop the camera when it's done so you know that it's at the end of the clip, which makes the editing a lot easier on the back end. I would say that's my number one tip.
Yeah, and Dizzle, somebody asked about Dizzle before. I don't know where Dizzle's at. He was out in Nebraska. I think he had phone issues out there again. I don't know. I haven't heard from him. I messaged him a couple times. So I don't know. That guy's like a fart in a skillet. He's out doing Husker things out there, so who knows? Hopefully he'll be back soon. We'll get him on. I'll slap him around.
I got lost in a tourney video and I quit editing and quit.
Yeah, you'll want to do that a lot. That's
Editing
why I said
is
do it a
by
lot.
far the least fun part of making fishing videos.
Yeah, it's not fun, especially when you get almost all the way through and then your program shuts down and you've been editing for like 3
Yeah,
hours,
here's
2 hours.
another number 2 tip: save often.
Yes, save every 2 minutes.
So
Okay,
most
we're
programs
at.
have an auto save you can set up. But
I should check that. That is dumb of me. We're at 147. We need 3 more. 3 more entries. 150 that I'm pulling. 150.
I'm not
Nick in
getting
the
in.
house. Nick, I hope you're well, my friend.
Charlie Sanders says Academy Sports has deals on VMC red lines. Somebody asked if there's any update on Dobbin's rod
I just
production.
saw that.
As far as, I mean, everything that you're buying now, I would doubt that any of the rods, almost none of the rods you're buying now were probably ordered and produced before GSM purchased Dobbins. And they were definitely purchased before Platinum Equity purchased GSM. So I would expect that I'm not expecting that there to be a quality shift or a component because Gary's still in charge of congratulations, C Reigns. But
Must
I'm
be
not
present.
anticipating any change in like downgrading components or making things cheaper. If it did happen, it wouldn't happen for a while because they're so heavy. Like Gary orders so heavy on inventory that would take a while to come through. What I would expect them to do, and this is complete speculation on my part,
C Reigns,
is
are you
like they
here?
did
Let me know.
consolidate the warehouse because it was 90 miles from the other warehouse. It definitely sucked for the employees that worked there. Like there were some good people that didn't make the move to Irving, Texas from Sulphur Springs. That sucks. That's corporate life of, unfortunately, like when it didn't make sense to operate 2 warehouses 90 miles apart from a cost standpoint. I would expect they're going to trim some of the lineups, right? There's going to be some slow sellers. There's going to be some of people's favorite rods that weren't big movers that I'm sure they'll trim. So those are the things I would expect to see long before I would ever worry about the rod quality itself. That's my 2 cents.
C Reigns, are you here? You need to comment if you're here, because if you're not here, we're re-rolling, and I have not seen you.
You can if you do the it shows he's here. Did you know that you can give away 10 free memberships per month, Debo?
No.
He says he's here. So if you open, should we teach Debo something?
Oh, I think I did. You have to go into YouTube.
So you have to open your show in a YouTube browser. And then if you click on the little icon, like you're going to super chat.
We got 280 people in here. Hold on.
You can do 5 at a time. And you can do up to 10 per month.
I remember that now that you said. I had forgot about it. I did remember it for a little bit.
I forget at times too. And I just try to remember to do that at least twice a month and give away 5 twice a month on my channel. Holy cow.
Let's do that now. Huh?
C Rain says, holy cow.
Oh, yes. C Reigns, you are a winner. You need to please email me a screenshot of your YouTube so I know it's you and your address, and I will get that sent out to you, my friend.
In about 6 to 8 months.
It's not a lie.
It'll be just in time for next ice fishing season.
It'll be just in time for fall fishing. I am horrible at it. I've got everything ready to go. I just need to get them all labeled and go over there. I'm horrible at getting over to the post office.
Yeah. And I just drop it in the bins. I don't like go to the desk. I just print, apply the label.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. How do I find my live? There we go. All right. So how do you do the...
So if you have the YouTube, just click on that little $sign next to the chat.
Membership gifting?
Yeah.
We're just going to do all of them tonight. How
many
people do we have on? 270. You what?
I've been a member for 35 months.
Yo, thank you, Hella. 35 months. Appreciate you. Okay, let's see. Well, I'm just gonna burn them all now because I guarantee I will forget.
So Rich G, he's one of my OGs, so that's awesome. Tim Antio, Drew Santiago, James Graham, and General Algorn, and then Alex
Al
Blazing,
Gore.
Buzzjet, Alyssa Larson, Arel, and Scott Ragsdale all got 1 month free gift membership from Debo.
How do you see those?
It's my bike, punk.
I don't even know where. Oh, there we go. Was gifted. Okay, so you have to go to the chat. Well, there you go. Well, I got the 10 frees out. Did that because I guarantee I will forget that. Thank you, Hella. Sea Rains is a winner. Let me write that down before
So
I
now,
forget.
if you've got that gifted membership, you can go back and watch some of those membership lives archives if you want. Will Junkin, your show off.
Okay, what else we got for questions? We'll go another. What do we got? When is your whatnot thing going? Now?
Supposed to start at 9:05.
Okay, all right. Well, listen, rapid fire. We need two questions, 2 hot questions. We got 4 minutes here.
2 hot questions.
Will Junkin in the house? Yeah, Will's an OG supporter.
Will's an OG Visor Gang guy too.
Rich, yeah. Rich is now a member. Thank you, Rich. Oh, wait, or did you get a gift? Thank you, Debo, for thanking you, Rich. You know what I mean. Dustin, oh, same time, 35 months. DT, I can't wait to get out with you on that boat again.
Favorite boat kayak snack is the free jerky from Omnia.
Oh, I tried one of those and that stuff was horrible. It was too hard. For you? No, it's too hard. I don't like real hard jerky. So if you like hard jerky, that's fine.
It's definitely a stiffer. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't stand, like, to me, it has to be those, whatever the Jack Links, like, beef nuggets are or whatever that are real soft. That's what I like.
Extra nitrates.
Yeah. I like the extra salt and carcinogens in there. Okay. What else? What's one more? We need one more good one.
Chiefs or Eagles?
Don't care.
Me either.
Not an NFL fan.
I'll probably edit videos.
Oh, Gators. I already received the
Will Hellabass win an open this year? No, because I'm not fishing into the opens this year, Kyle. I'm fishing Classic Bass Champions Tour.
People that are doing giveaways on my channel when they were guests have already got prizes out to people before I've even got my stuff out from 2 months ago. All right, one more. Last question.
Anybody throw the trick shad? I have. I haven't thrown the new one. I've got the original resin. I have not. I bought the injection molded one. I think it's in my box. It's buried down there under stuff. It looks pretty cool, but I haven't thrown the new like Buka one. I've thrown the original trick shad. Caught some fish on it.
Is that the new one? I did pick up one of those. I think that one and the clutch one. Hey, I gotta try them. Gotta try them. Picked up that and the clutch one. So,
the Eco.
Yep, I think those two might be the deal. All right. Well, listen, we're getting out of here. Give Ulrich a follow if you have not. He has been a knowledge base that I've leaned on. Super nice guy, down to earth. Give him a follow. Appreciate you hopping on, Rich.
Whatever, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, any of the platforms, Hellabass, you'll find me. I've been putting out a lot of content, a lot of short form, lots of stuff. So if you like Debo stuff, my stuff's probably okay too.
His will be better. His will actually teach you how to catch good fish, good size fish. Me, not so much. All right, listen, we're out of here.
Figure out a way to get out on the water this year, Debo. So,
dude, let's do it. Let me know. That would be fun. I would like to meet up, even if it's like North Mississippi or whatever. Like if you're prepping for something, maybe. I don't know. I figured that might be a good time. But otherwise, yeah, just some random weekend. Let's make it happen.
All right, dude. Thanks for having me on. I got to jump.
All right. Thanks, Rich. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Love y'all. Appreciate you. See you next live.